Hello YouTube, Sidekick here. We got a bit of a different video today based on feedback I've been getting on my Discord server. Some folks would like to see some videos that have, some notes and explanations rather than just footage of flying in them. So I decided I would give it a try on a new series that I'm calling, with apologies to Douglas Adams, The Iron Bomber's Guide to the DCS Galaxy. The idea of the series is going to be to take a look at, well, kind of a history of the use of unguided bombs through the mechanism of DCS. See, because DCS allows us to fly planes from different eras, which I think is one of its great strengths, we can actually trace the history of the use of iron bombs from the 1950s up to, the 1990s. And when we do, we'll actually see not only how the techniques for iron bombing changed with technology, but also how they changed in response to the tactical air environment and how that environment also changed the way the planes themselves were designed. This, frankly, is what fascinates me about DCS, and so I'm really looking forward to exploring it in more detail. I hope you'll find it interesting as well. For the first installment of the Iron Bomber's Guide, though, we're just going to start with a quick introduction. We'll take a look at the basics of iron bombing, go for a quick tour of the iron bombing test range, and while we're out there, we'll drop a couple of bombs, because why not? Oh, so here's a Harrier taxiing out from our base at Banderlenge on the way to the test range. While we're waiting for him to get out there, let's take a quick look at iron bombing. Iron bombing, simply put, is the fine art of putting unguided weapons on a target using only gravity. So let's look at a standard iron bombing scenario. We have a plane and a target, and the plane has a bomb. The objective for the plane is to drop the bomb at the correct time so that it flies on its own and hits the target. So let's see what we know about the situation at the moment of the bomb's release. We know the height of the plane. We know the distance to the target, or the range. We also know the velocity vector of the plane, and hence the bomb, meaning that we know its horizontal and vertical speed. So, now if we just look at the bomb, how do we figure out where it will land using this information? Well, the fall time of the bomb will be a function of its height and its vertical speed, as well as gravity and drag, but we know those. Then we can figure out the distance the bomb will travel towards the target once we know the fall time and the horizontal speed of the bomb, and of course, drag. So, in summary, if we want to hit a target with an iron bomb, all we have to do is drop it at exactly the right speed, and dive angle, and altitude, while traveling at a few hundred knots, while people are trying to kill us. Piece of cake, really. Okay, let's get out of the classroom and go out to the iron bombing test range. So, the iron bombing test range is actually contained in a mission file that you can get on the Eagle Dynamics user file site. I'll put a link to the mission file in the description, so you can go out and use that mission. If you don't modify it at all, you can use it to do a lot of different things, and if you get fancy with the mission editor just a little, you can do a lot more. So let's take a look at what we have here on the test range. Basically have two test ranges. The near one is one large test range with a 50-meter target, and the other one has three 25-meter targets. You can see that there's a helpful column of smoke that's been placed at the north end of the big range to help you find it if you're at a distance. I should also note that the range is oriented so that it is due north, which is helpful as well. So the Harrier's circling around here, probably just going to go in and take a quick drop, just so we can get a closer look at the range. Now, the Harrier is going to use CCIP, and we haven't talked at all about that. But essentially, if you go back to the whiteboard session we were doing, the computer is doing all of the legwork here and figuring out exactly where the bomb is going to drop based on all of the inputs that we talked about. So the pilot, in this case, only job is to actually put the cross over the target and set the timing of the release by pressing the pickle exactly when the cross is over the target. As we go back in time, we'll find that the pilot has a lot more to do to ensure an accurate drop. And that drop was not bad. It was off a little because, frankly, we were a little to the right and we pickled a little bit late. One of the things that you will find in DCS that I think is a valid criticism is that the CCIP modes are really too good. Essentially, you have a computer that knows exactly where the target is and exactly where the plane is and exactly its dive angle and its speed, and so it can compute essentially a perfect solution, which you'd never get in the real world because there'd be uncertainties in all of those factors. So it is possible to essentially be hyper accurate in DCS, but that's the simulation that we have. So we'll just go down and take another closer look at the test range. As we fly by, you'll notice that there are vehicles set up in the range. The big range has some random vehicles scattered about. The small targets have a variety of vehicles. The first target has artillery vehicles, the second target has infantry fighting vehicles, and the third target has tanks. So you can also use that range to test the effectiveness of a variety of different kinds of munitions. So those are the kinds of things we're going to do on the iron bombing test range. We're actually going to start at the later stage, the 1990s, work our way back towards the 50s, and look at how iron bombing has developed in our DCS time machine. I hope you'll join me for the future installments of the Iron Bomber's Guide to the DCS Galaxy. For now, this is going to be Sidekick, signing off.